I think there's the intrinsic purpose, like I had to support my family. Now that I don't have a family to support, I've actually created a much bigger calling, which is to liberate the human spirit at work, for people to find freedom inside of themselves at work. But then there's the overarching noble cause of the organization. What do they stand for? Any of the companies I support, I work for, I serve, need to have a cause, a noble cause that I'm interested in, or I'm not that excited to go support them in having a better culture. For example, we worked for 5 years with an organization in Oakland, California. And when I met them, they said, we make shit pipe. And I was like, what? And they said, we do plumbing. We make the pipe that goes under the ground. When we were done with them, they created clean communities. See the difference?
Exactly.
And it actually shifted, not just the words. There's a lot of work to do after you create the words. But then they started saying, if we create clean communities, our community needs to be clean ontologically. We need to be clean with each other. We need to raise our level of integrity with how we communicate and how responsible we are for our role. And before I started working with them, it was us versus them. They create shit pipe, and they were also creating a lot of it was fun for me because I got to use a lot of analogies about caca in the space, removing the shit from the space. But they had a lot of, you guys are wrong. No, you guys are wrong. It was very us versus them. And it was a hardcore manufacturing. It was a foundry. And we went through a deep dive personal transformation and team transformation 20 at a time with every person in that company, the office, the foundry, the piping, all of it. And as people got more in touch with their own purpose and their own alignment with their mind, their body, and their heart, they became nicer, more tolerant, more patient, more conscious and aware of how they were talking to each other and how they were treating each other and what they would give their commitment to. The whole company shifted over, I would say, the first 3 years. And now the guy who hired me is now retired. He says, Magi, we had 8 of the most profitable years in the business because I invested in cultivating the human system. And before him and now after him, it is not a priority. There's lots of people who've left saying this culture is toxic because they say they care about people, but what they really care about is money. And you can have a lot of money, as my client proved, 8 of the best, most profitable years out of 125-year company history, because they invested in how people look at themselves and look at the other and treat each other. You would think, woo, this is the biggest magic pill. But there's no magic pill, as you know. It takes cultivation of yourself and your team in order to shift the whole culture. Yes. So I was in a course with a gentleman named Jeff Wilmore, and he said, it's the environment. And I've said it in similar ways, but I loved how I call it culture. He calls it the environment, the air we're breathing, the water we're drinking, how people, just the energy. That's the other thing in my talk, Ignite Culture. I talk about it's energy. Culture is energy. It's the energy that we're bringing. The how we communicate, how we have meetings, how we hire, which is another story, how we hire, how we fire, how we promote, how we do business planning. That's all our architecture. That's what HR would call our processes, but it's not processes, it's framework. the framework supports the environment, and the environment and the framework supports the ultimate noble cause. So what I think people think about is they think, oh, we have our mission, and oh, we have our values. They don't coach people and train them on how to be those values. They don't find out what's in the way of what's in your way of being respectful here. Well, we have no accountability. So if you're not going to do it, I got to do it. And the only way I know how to do it is through force. Like, that's what a deep alignment retreat is about, is people start to look at their persona, their egoic self, and what they bring to work to defend their fiefdom, their money, their power. And what it is just kids fighting in the playground at most companies. It's 8th grade, 7th grade, 6th grade coming to life on the executive team. And it doesn't seem possible, but you see all these books now that most people leading companies are acting out their childhood traumas on each other.